some hands-on stuff. So Denise was interested in cooking eggplant. And because I have a really good eggplant, I've had a love-hate relationship with eggplant. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. What I've learned is eggplant is a freaking sponge. So I use no oil on it and I like it much better.
Nice.
And then I found this recipe that is eggplant rollatini with cashew cheese. You can use ricotta because you're basically making ricotta with cashews. And because Denise she can't do cashews, she's going to go ahead and use the ricotta. So you'll get to see us both. She was in search of nutritional yeast when ding, 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 ding. You don't need it, Denise. You already have cheese.
I've got the cheese. Yay!
Yeah, I have the nutritional yeast, and you should have these things as well: oregano and basil. I think I did them backwards, and then I chopped up some spinach.
Ooh, I haven't chopped mine yet.
Well, you can do that while your eggplant's cooking. And then I also had some broccoli. So I've done this before. I just chopped broccoli up really small. I don't even cook it. I just threw that in there with the spinach, and that all goes in with the cheese. But first, we have to get the main ingredient prepped.
Eggplant. So, I'm wearing purple in honor of Eggplant Day.
Oh, awesome. I love it. So my eggplant is already finished. This is the finished product. You have little skinny slices that have been, and I put no oil on them because again, it's like a freaking sponge. If you can, I don't know that you can imagine the texture of that, but the more oil you put on it, the more it's going to soak up. So I think that's why I never liked eggplant parm. With all the cheese and the oil, it just did a number on my belly. So I've gotten smarter in my days.
Perfect.
So Denise is going to get hers to look like this and ready for the oven. The other trick with eggplant is to salt it. And that may seem kind of crazy because, we don't want a ton of salt and because it soaks everything up. But the salt brings moisture out and then it doesn't get as slimy. And it also releases the bitterness. And then when you get done salting it before you roast it in the oven, you pat it dry with a paper towel. So get your eggplant out. And the first thing you have to do is, I'm sure you washed them already.
Yes, I did.
Dry them off. And then I try to cut as close to that green stuff at the top as I can. Sometimes I'll even get my knife under it.
Okay.
It's prickly. So I'm glad you're wearing your protective glove.
All right.
So chop the top.
Let me turn my camera down and we'll work on this together. Okay, hang on.
Okay. All right. Hey, you're giving me the hand, girl.
You got the hand. How's that? Is that good?
Yes, I can see everything you're doing.
Perfect. Okay, so up and under. Don't go very far with it, does it?
Yep.
Ew, that's gross. All right.
And then when I cut mine, I kind of cut a thin slice on either side to get that skin edge off.
Was that thin enough?
You could probably take a little bit more off than that.
Well, you said thin. Oh, I'm sliding. I'm sliding.
Just eyeball it.
That's...
And then, well, you want your first slice so that you can roll it. But if you can't roll it, we'll just use that one in the eggplant dip.
There we go.
There we go. Now a half is too thick, and sometimes a quarter is a little too thin. So just eyeball it somewhere between there.
Like the perfect ultimate slice.
Exactly. This is probably my perfect slice. Yep, and then just sit it over there on your rack because we're going to salt it.
All right. It is kind of spongy, speaking of sponges.
Yes.
Whoop. Kind of seedy too, for that matter.
Yep, my friend who gave me this recipe, she was peeling this and then scooping the seeds out of it. And she said, there was hardly any eggplant left. I said, you don't have to do that. She's like, oh my God, I made it way more labor intensive than it needed to be. She's not a cook, but she, like Denise, decided she wanted to eat more plants. And so she's learning how to cook differently.
Well, that
And
one didn't come out so swell.
well, we can, like I said, so here's what I did with my scraps, since we're going to make the eggplant dip. In the past, I've taken those ends and thrown them in the freezer, and you can chop them up and throw them in soups, chilies, anything you want, or make a dip with them. And so I skinned them and chopped them up, and they're all ready for the eggplant dip.
I think this is the dip pile.
Okay, they all got to get roasted, so.
Ah, perfect. All right, let me get them on another sheet here.
Yeah, I just cooked mine, Denise. We talked about using parchment paper, but I just cooked mine right on the rack, and they didn't stick. So I love you're feeling all confident about cutting. There's something satisfying about cutting thin slices of eggplant.
All right, let's go. All right, let's see what we got.
Yeah.
Now, when we make the dip, do I peel the ones for the dip too?
You just peel the ones for the dip. You don't have to peel the ones for the rollatini. It actually helps them stay together a little bit better.
Oh, perfect.
And when I put eggplant in a bean dish or chili or some kind of a soup, I never peel them. Some people don't like the skin, but it's like when you were a kid, you always wanted your apple peeled, and now that you're grown up, you pretty much eat the skin.
Correct.
It's kind of like that with eggplant.
See if I cannot chop my thumb off. Oh, she's getting tricky.
Yeah, put your hand over top of it, like, there you go.
Oh, now we're getting all sneaky, aren't we? There. Well, it's like they keep getting a fat end, thin end. Woo!
It'll be all right.
We'll get her going. We'll get it
Yep.
figured out.
Yep.
Trial and error.
I have never made this eggplant dip recipe, so I'm just, and the very first ingredient on the recipe is oil, which we are going to use water instead of oil.
Perfect. Oh,
You know,
that one worked better.
You can always drizzle a little oil over the top of your hummus or dip if you feel like you need it afterwards. But a fourth of a cup to me is a lot of oil. A tablespoon would be plenty.
This brown spot here, should I chop that off, or is that just?
That's the eggplant. That's probably what's up against the seeds. Because see how,
Yeah.
I don't, what's the skin side look like? Is it brown?
Skin side is a beautiful aubergine. I feel like Vanna.
I don't think it's rotten on the inside. I think it's
Perfect.
fine.
Well, I had to shop at the W store.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're never for sure what you're going to get.
Right. My eggplants I got at Trader Joe's, and they were so, I was looking for a smaller version because I've never had them this round before. They've always been, you know, more like the top at the widest point. Like this one, it's huge. But always before I felt like I had too much cheese. So my husband's going to be so happy when he comes home. He absolutely loves this dish. Absolutely loves it.
Well, I'm looking forward to testing it. I did a Facebook Live this afternoon in my group, and the ladies all want pictures after I'm done with it. And I'm like, oh boy.
They want to see the finished product.
That they do. I'm running out of room on my racks.
Your
Why
oven
is it-
needs to be at 400. I guess we should have talked about that before you started chopping.
Oh, it's already preheated. I'm good.
Oh, you are good.
I read the
So-
recipe. I was paying attention for once.
So those go, first you have to let them sit for 30 minutes with the salt, and then you'll mop them off, and then you'll put them in the oven for 20. And I flipped mine over halfway through. So I set the timer for 10, flipped them over, and then 10 more. And then you bring them out and let them cool off until you can handle them. Meanwhile, you make your cheese. So for you, you're going to be adding your spices to your ricotta, or yeah, your ricotta.
Yep,
And
my
I've
ricotta.
got my cashew cream in my little trusty processor, and I'm going to add nutritional yeast, basil, and oregano. And I already threw in a shake of pepper. So I'm going to do that. It gets a little noisy. I'm going to do that while you're finishing up your slicing.
Now I sprinkle these all with salt.
Yes.
Okay, I'm using sea salt because that's what I have.
Perfect. Perfect. That's what I use.
Regular salt is fine, but I like sea salt because it makes me feel like I'm fancy.
I don't like regular salt because they put stuff in it so it won't clump. And
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
we don't need that in our bodies. I like
I
my
don't know,
I like my
because my
body
body-
non-clumpy.
I don't need extra stuff. I have plenty.
Yep. All right. I'm hoping you can see my processor here. So I'm gonna show you what the cashew. I didn't soak them quite as long as I should have. So it's not quite as creamy as it could be, but that's all right. So 3 hours or overnight is what you want to, if you're doing the cashew version. And then I'm going to put in the nutritional yeast. It says 1/3 to 1/4 of a cup of water, and I already did 1/3 or 1/3 to 1/2. I already did the 1/3. So there's the basil. I always feel like Julia Child when I put all my ingredients in. Little.
Nothing wrong with that.
I love to have it all measured out because then it, you can just follow the recipe without any interruptions. So I'm going to blend this up. And my little food processor has a hole in the top. So if I need water, I can just drizzle it through that little hole. Here we go. The nutritional yeast makes it a little dry, so I'm going to put a little water in there. That wasn't so hard, was it, Denise, cutting up that eggplant?
It was scary and only a couple parts where it kind of went wonky, but those are the parts that I'll use for the dip.
Right.
So the question is, you did your raw cashews, but how much ricotta do I switch for that?
I am going to measure this right now. See how much I ended up with. I would imagine, ricotta just comes in, does it come in 1 or 2 sizes?
Well, the only ricotta I could find is 32 ounces worth.
Okay, I don't think you need that much, but let's see how much I got here. I just flung cashew cream on my face.
I had slim pickings at the store last night. There was not a lot to choose from.
Yep. I thought about that when I told you to just get ricotta, that, I really don't know. This is 1 1/4 cups of cashews.
Okay. So at least I'll have 1 1/4 cups of ricotta, even though I'm using a liquid measuring thing, but that's okay. I'll work with it.
I'm just thinking it's probably 1.5 cups.
Okay.
Because there's a cup. I'm just going to dump it in with the spinach and the broccoli.
Okay, I got my cup and a half. We're good. I got it all smashed rooney. See how cute? Oh, I got an air pocket. Air pocket.
Incoming. Food processors and blenders are not my favorite because they're messy to clean up.
It's the blades. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the blades. They get in the way.
Okay, ricotta is in the measuring cup.
Then you just have to mix it, stir in your
Okay.
spices.
Get my ricotta in there. Woo. Woo, make noise, make noise. I'm messy. Okay.
You could probably put the rest of it in the freezer if you I would think. I freeze stuff all the time.
So it calls for, oops, I'm stuck. I can't get my lid off. Come on, lid, you can do it. It calls for 2 teaspoons of basil and 1 teaspoon of oregano. So that's 3 teaspoons total, which
Right.
is 1 tablespoon, correct?
Yeah, but you got 2 different ingredients there, so you gotta.
Yeah, I have Tuscan Sunset, and
Oh,
that
that's right.
has basil, oregano, red bell pepper, garlic, thyme, fennel, black pepper, and anise.
Yep, I'd say 1.5.
1.5 tablespoons?
No, I'm talking about the cheese still. You're way ahead of me, sister.
I couldn't hear. I was busy dinging the,
I know. I forgot you had that blend of spices.
Now I got it all over me. Oh, if I can't eat it, might as well wear it. Okay, some black pepper. Gotta have my black pepper. Okay. Do I need lemon juice, or was the lemon juice for the nuts?
The lemon juice was for the nuts.
Okay, perfect. So let me get this all stirred up. I can add a little bit more garlic to it, just because why? I love garlic.
Yeah.
And I don't need a lot of garlic because there's already garlic in there. So this would be.
Did you know that there's people that actually are allergic to garlic?
Oh, no, thank you. I love garlic.
I love
Keeps
garlic.
vampires away.
I found a substitute for it though. You'll love this. Can you see it?
Oh, let me look. Oh, I gotta flip up. Authentic ground. What is that?
Ass and feet.
Well, it's something very nice.
So you can use this, and it's.
Woo!
Uh-oh.
And it jumped. It attacked. Are we back?
It's asafoetida ground. Comes from China, which I probably shouldn't say that, but it's $136.50 a pound.
Wow.
But it tastes just like garlic, and then people who are allergic, I have that for when I cook for people that can't. I have a friend, Patty, who gave me this recipe. She can't do garlic, so mine's all mixed up with my veggies, and I'm gonna start rolling it up in my eggplant.
Okay, I'm gonna chop up my spinach here, as long as I don't lose a finger.
Okay. And it says in the recipe to use, I think, 2 tablespoons. I've usually gotten 6 to 8 roll-ups out of this recipe, and these eggplants are bigger, so I'm not sure what we're going to do today, but I'm going to aim for 8 anyway. Can you see what I'm doing?
Okay, let me look. Okay, paying attention now.
I just put 2 spoonfuls of cheese on there and then just roll it up. I probably put too much on.
Kind of like an overstuffed burrito.
Yep. And then just, put it in I put a little bit of sauce in my pan like you would, because we're not greasing it.
Perfect.
So then I just take this and put it seam side down right there in the pan.
See, I was thinking seam side down as you were standing them up.
No, I'm not standing them up.
Well, that would make an interesting presentation.
Yeah, it would be pretty.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
You want me to put them like this?
See, that's what I was thinking. And then I'm like, oh no, seam, the seam. Okay,
Yep.
that's probably half my bag of spinach now.
And Denise and I both agreed Rayo's rocks.
Love Rayo's.
I usually get it at Sam's because I can get 2 jars this size for like $9.99. I paid $8.99 for this jar at Kroger. But I was able to get the Arabida, which has got a little kick to it. And here's why I love it. Italian whole peeled tomatoes, a little bit of olive oil, which I wish it wasn't in there, but it is. Onions, salt, garlic, basil, red crushed pepper, black pepper, and oregano. Period. No sugar, no extravagant preservatives, no color enhancers, no MSG.
Well,
just the real thing.
My favorite thing is it has a total of 4 sugars, and that's natural sugars, not added sugars. Right. So that is the bomb for me.
Oh, and while we're talking about tomatoes, we all know they're a fruit. But did you know eggplant is also a fruit?
Interesting. It comes from a flower, so I suppose it would be.
Yeah, I never thought about it that way. But all squashes come from flowers too.
And I think it's savory versus sweet. So because tomatoes are more on the savory side, or they want them to be, then they, whoops, not with my glove finger. Then they want them to be, ooh, it smells good. Want them to be labeled as a vegetable instead of a fruit, even though they technically are a fruit.
Gotcha.
Is what I'm thinking. Because squash is just like watermelon, right?
Yeah.
Grows basically the same way. Okay, I got plenty of spinach. I think I over spinached myself.
That's all right. You can throw it in the freezer and use it in a smoothie.
I'll just use it in a smoothie without throwing it in the freezer. All right, so that is that. Now I'm just waiting. I have got 2 minutes of 10 minutes till I pet. Oh, look at all. Did you see all the moisture coming out of that? Oh, here, let me turn it down. Look at all the moisture.
I used 3 paper towels on mine.
Wow. That is just, that's amazing. I like doing things like that.
Crazy, isn't it? This is so much more fun than doing it by myself.
Well, I totally agree, because if I had to do this by myself, it would not be happening. Even with my floral apron on, just saying.
I should have put my apron on. Dang it.
Well, I wear an apron pretty much all the time because, you do the dishes and I don't know, my stomach absorbs most of the water out of the sink. So I wear an apron to try to keep myself halfway clean and dry. Yeah. So we'll see.
Bill's going to be so happy when he comes home and smells this cooking in the oven. Usually I tell him what I'm making for my cooking demo, but I didn't tell him today.
Surprise!
And he's either got a chicken breast or a pork chop in there thawing, which will be perfect. He can have that, and then this is his side, and I'll make a salad.
Sounds delicious.
I have some, I had made some lentils for Mexican pizza.
Ooh.
So I cooked the lentils, and then I chopped up walnuts and added it in the spices to the lentils and put it on a pizza crust with a little bit of corn, a little bit of vegan. I only had cheddar cheese, and plus that's what you want for Mexican anyway. Definitely. And then when it came out, I put avocado and tomatoes on it. Oh my God, was it good. But there, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Perfect.
Can you see?
Is that a 9x13 pan?
No, this is the smaller one.
Gotcha.
And now all they have to do is put the sauce over the top. I'm gonna have a taste. You know, it's like what I love about cooking with plants. You can always lick the spoon and not worry about getting salmonized. I don't know that that's a word.
It is now Susan's new word of the day, salmonized. We don't want to be salmonized.
My cheese is probably sweeter than yours, because of the cashew.
Fine, whatever, be that way.
I'm gonna wash my hands. So how are you doing over there, Denise?
Oh, that was my 10 minutes.
Okay.
And another 10.
Oh, for your salt?
Yep, for my salt, because it was 20 minutes worth, correct?
It's supposed to be 30 minutes, but I think as much as yours are sweating, and then it's 20 minutes in the oven, 10 and 10. But you're good.
I mean, I can mop them up now. I'm good with that, and then get them in the oven. That's fine with me too.
Okay. Why don't you give them another 5?
Okay.
Mine's all ready for the oven. I'm just gonna cover it up and let it sit here for. Bill gets home usually around 5:30, and it only has to be in the oven 325 for 20 to 25 minutes.
Nice. Well, because everything's pretty much pre-cooked.
Yeah, you're just heating it through.
Perfect.
I know.
All right. Well, I'm beyond excited to try this. I am just, yeah, I'm all over this.
Bill's like, oh my God, this is like gourmet. That's what he said. And I was like, trying not to bust at the seams, because the man is definitely, he's not a casserole person. He will eat occasionally chili, but he's not a leftover person. And he killed this stuff. He had it for dinner and then he had it again. And I'm like, and my friend Patty, who gave me the recipe, I can't remember where she got it. Her husband, Bruce, doesn't do veggies. He doesn't do plants, and he loved it. Good. So she was ecstatic. And you can see it doesn't take very long. I mean, there's steps, but really you can have it all done in, I mean, the 30 minutes for it to sweat and then 20 minutes to cook it. So that's, I mean, you could have it all prepped in an hour and then 20 minutes to cook through. I know that's longer than some people want to spend, but actually you could make it to this point, make several of them, throw them in the freezer, and then you would have them.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It would just take longer to bake because they're froze.
Well, if you got it out and just let it thaw, or, you know, a lot of stuff comes out of the freezer department and it gets done in 45 minutes.
Yep. Perfect.
Yep. Perfect is right.
Bet it tastes better the next day after all the flavors have got a chance to soak in, and because eggplant, like you said, if it's a sponge, it's going to soak up that sauce.
Yes.
I'm all excited I love sauce.
Yep. And, you know, I probably used a little bit, right around half, good healthy half of the jar. And this is a 24-ounce jar.
Yep. I think that's exactly what I have. I got the marinara, 24-ounce jar. Yep. I calculated it out, had to get the calculator out to make sure I was doing what, 24 divided by 8, 3 cups, and it wants a cup and a half a jar. Yay!
I am going to attempt to make this dip. And I'm not even going to, I licked my finger from that sauce. It definitely has pepper. Definitely has some Cajun pepper in it.
Woo!
I love spicy.
Spice it up the life.
Yeah. All right. So the dip, which you will have to do on your own, Denise.
Yep.
I know it tells you to sweat the eggplant so you can get the skin off easier, but I just kind of thinly sliced it off and I didn't even get it all off. All
Just
right.
like kids with the bread crust.
Yeah, yep. So you just put it in the food processor with all the other ingredients, which are, we're gonna put the eggplant in there. I'm gonna do half because I don't think I have as much eggplant as this whole recipe says. So I'm just gonna do, how many tablespoons are in a juiced lemon? You know that answer?
Depends on how juicy your lemon is, but up to 3, I think.
I usually do anywhere from, I think, a half a lemon, you're right, depends how juicy it is. Half of a lemon can be anywhere from 1 to 2. So since this says 2 lemons, I'm gonna take your advice and do 3. And this is the lemon juice I buy.
Ooh, Santa Cruz organic.
Yeah, it's I get the 16 ounce because they have one that's bigger, and they also have one that's bigger that's lemonade. But I just want the lemon juice, so I buy this and the lime and just keep it in the fridge, and it lasts better than, it's kind of like you with your chopped up garlic.
Yep.
We buy what we're not going to have to waste, and so lemons would end up in the garbage before I got around to using them, but this is always in there. And sometimes you only need a tablespoon, and then what do you do with the rest of the lemon after you've cut it open?
Well, if you're my great niece, she apparently has discovered she likes to chew on lemons. I think she's crazy, but family, what can you say?
Yep, I chopped up some garlic.
Nice.
I didn't do 5 cloves. I did 2 really big cloves and then a little clove.
That'll work.
If we need more, we'll get the garlic powder out. And then I'm just going to do, this is the tahini I'm using today, but I really like to get it at the grocery where it's a little less expensive for a bigger jar. And I forget what the brand is.
Well, I was just ecstatic that we found it local, or as close to local as I'm going to get.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gotten it at Kroger before in a plastic. This is a glass jar. But I've gotten it in a plastic jar. And
Well, this is what my niece found for me.
Okay. Real tahini.
But it says real Mediterranean. Woohoo!
Yep. There's 2 brands that you can find in the international section. And this is one of them, Zayed.
I've had that one before, but of course, when I dug in my cabinet, it was 2014.
Yeah. Mine's 2020. Mine's 2024. I just bought this one. I've also found it in a real, like a mayonnaise jar size, like a big mayonnaise jar size. And it was only a couple of dollars more than this. But I've only seen that at one Kroger and I can't remember which Kroger it was.
Right.
Anyway, I'm going to do, it says a half a cup. I'm just going to do a 1/4 of a cup because I can always add, but I can't take it out, right?
Correct.
Tahini is really good in salad dressing too. You can do so much stuff with tahini. You can use it in baked goods instead of oil and other nut butters. Yep, you can do, if you Google tahini and all the different things you can do with it, you would be amazed. All right, there goes the tahini in the food processor.
All right, I'm mopping up my eggplant now because my 5 minutes are up.
All right, you'll have to tell us how many paper towels it takes.
Oh my gosh. Holy smolies. Just a bit wet.
Yeah.
Oops.
Well, just think all that moisture would be in your dish, and then your dish would be slimy and falling apart. It's not as important to do that when you're throwing it in a stew or a soup, because it's going to cook differently. All right, I got lemon juice in there. I got tahini in there. I got garlic in there. And a little bit of salt.
That was 3 half sheets there. Let's see what I get on the other pan now.
You must have way more eggplant because I use 3 half sheets. All right, there goes the eggplant. I'm wondering if I can freeze this until I go to the lake with the girls on Monday, and we could have it for a appetizer.
Ooh, dippity dip. We love dip, right?
Right. I probably didn't need to add any salt because I just licked my finger after pulling the eggplant out of the bowl and it was salty.
Okay, so my eggplant is dry. That was 5 half sheets of paper towel, sopping wet now. Bet I could squeeze water out of that.
So now you can just throw them in the oven, put your timer on for 10 minutes.
Do I keep them on the racks?
Please.
Do I keep them on the racks?
I did.
Okay.
And they did not stick. And I didn't grease the racks either. You'd be so proud of me, Denise, today. I was in the checkout line. You know how they have all that tempting stuff by the checkout.
The good
And
stuff.
they had Frito scoops for $1.99 with the digital coupon. And I looked at them and I went, I don't need those.
Right? Okay, let's see what kind of horrors we got here, because we're all, I got a lot of eggplant. I gotta wear this one. I don't know where to put them. I gotta double stack them.
Yeah, kind of put them so that they're not like exactly on top of one another.
Yep.
You know, some of those ones that have a lot of skin on them, you could just chop them up and throw them in the freezer for something else.
Perfect.
By the time you get the skin off, there's not going to be worth it. That little thing is noisy. All right, so all I got to do is garnish it with some seeds and some cilantro.
Oh, for crying out loud, I got stuck down here in my...
Yeah, when you make the dip, don't add any salt.
There we go.
Did you catch that?
Don't add salt when I make the dip.
Right. Because the eggplant
It's super salty.
is
I'm
salty.
back in the house.
Home wrecker.
Oh, I forgot I
But-
had a thing in there. Let me get this added in the oven. Woo! She's going crazy.
It really is good. I wasn't expecting it to be as tasty as it is. I think the tang of the lemon and the tang of the
Woo.
tahini, and that was doing half of it was just perfect for the amount of eggplant I had left.
All right. So what do I need? 10, 20 minutes, 10 minutes.
10 minutes and then 10 minutes.
Ten minutes, 10 minutes. All right. Then I got to go in and flip it all.
You flip them after 10.
Perfect. And then they have to cool.
Yeah, they don't take very long to cool.
I am so excited. You have no idea.
Is your
Finally,
niece still with you, or are you going to get to have dinner by yourself?
I'm having dinner by myself.
It would have been nice to have it when she was there yesterday.
Yes, but she couldn't stay too long. She had other things she has to do. You know, people are busy nowadays.
Yes, they are.
And it's amazing being on vacation. I've had more things to do while I'm off of work than while I normally work all day.
Yeah.
Figure that one out.
Well, work is kind of limiting and you have to stay in that work mode. But when you have all day, I tell people that all the time. When I got laid off from my job at hospice, I was like, by the time I found a job to go back to work, I was like, I don't have time to go back to work.
Busy. Yep.
I had created a whole life looking for jobs, and at least I still wanted to go back to work. Then when I left work to go to massage school, there's the creamy dip. And you know what?
Delicious.
With some cucumbers and carrots, it probably won't be too salty at all. Now, if you put chips in it or pretzels, or, I mean, it would be good on rice cakes with a slice of tomato on it.
I have sweet peppers.
Yeah, you can dip those in there.
Very
It's really,
tasty.
it's not hummus. It doesn't have the density of the garbanzo beans. It's lighter, but it's really good.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Yay. I'm all excited.
And
You have no idea.
and there's no bitterness at all. Now, when you make this, it's probably only going to last in the fridge a week because we know there's no preservatives in it.
Correct.
And you know, if it makes more than you think you can eat in a week, just throw it in the freezer.
Well, I have a birthday party to go to on Saturday.
Perfect.
It may make an appearance. It's my great nephew. He is turning 11.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not that he would eat it, but I think my sister and my niece would eat it. So,
Well, and you know what? If you, so it said to put some cilantro and some sesame seeds on it. You could even do a little drizzle of olive oil or like a chili oil on it. Once you get it in the bowl, people will think it's hummus. They won't know.
right.
And they'll
And
be
my-
like, man, this hummus tastes different. And you'll be like, yeah,
It's
'cause
good,
I made
isn't
it.
it?
It's
And
because I made it.
my nephew, his 3 kids, they eat everything and anything. So they'll be licking the bowl out. I can guarantee it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm very excited. Well, thank you so much for all of the hand holding, going through prepping my eggplant. Now I just have to wait for it to cool. I got to flip it, cook it another 10, take it out, let it cool, roll it up, put it in my container,
Right?
casserole dish. That's what I'm looking for. Add my salt or my salsa, add my salsa, add my sauce, cook it for 25 minutes at 325. Meanwhile, then I can make my dip, which is throwing everything in the blender and we're good to go.
Yep. Once you
I'm
peel the
excited.
whatever eggplant that, I was glad I found this recipe because it, you know, it says I didn't buy 3. Like I said, I bought 2 eggplant and it was plenty to make 8 roll-ups and probably what, 2.5 cups of dip.
Perfect.
So
I'm excited. I
yeah.
can't wait. I
Just
will post pictures once I get it done and out of the oven and in my dip bowl. And yes. And if
And you
there's
know what?
one roll up missing in the picture, just ignore that. Like the corner one is gone. Just
Yeah.
saying.
We didn't even put water in place of the oil.
No.
So
Then need oil in place of the oil. Because they wanted you to roast with oil.
no, we didn't do that either.
But I don't understand what the point of roasting with oil is. For me, I think it would make it greasy.
Right. And you know, if you use parchment paper, there's no risk of sticking. And I thought mine might stick to my racks, but they didn't. So hopefully yours won't either.
We'll find out. If not, they'll have crosshatches on them.
Yeah, mine had a couple lines on them. But you kind of want that when you're roasting your vegetables.
Right? Perfect. Oh, I'm
Yep.
so excited. I got my innards ready to go. Perfect.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for all of your help. We should do this again on the next vegetable I freak out about.
Okay, that works.
Take your pick. It's pretty much all of them.
Well, you choose one and we'll do it. We'll make it happen. So take a picture, post it in Facebook, and I'll do something with this video that's gone on forever and share it with you.
Perfect. Wonderful. Well, thank you.
Bye, Denise.
Yeah.
It's been so much fun.
We got to do this again. This was awesome.
Yep.
All right,
Bye.
take care. Bye-bye.